What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Kryptonian staying here, bringing you guys a review for One Piece chapter 1083, and this is a big chapter, man. We are getting the flashback of what actually happened at the Reverie, huge details, and yet at the same time, I kind of find myself wondering what happened to Cobra. Like, we're obviously getting a build-up to that, but it's one of those things where Cobra, I don't like this, man. Like, the way that, like, Cobra is kind of built up in the first arc that we got in Alabasta, it's like I was rocking with Cobra. You know, I didn't think that Cobra was necessarily scum or anything like that, but it was one of those things where I like the character, and so I am a little bit biased. And maybe I read it wrong, but I kind of felt like they were implying that there was actually more to Cobra than actually met the eye. And I'm a little bit worried. Like, I thought that there might have been something else to it, that like Sabo didn't actually kill Cobra and that this was all something bigger being planned. And yet at the same time, I was like, well, the foreshadowing was there that like Vivi would eventually take over Alabasta and that Vivi would end up being the one that brings about a bigger change just because of how she views things and how she was able to do things in a diplomatic way, like how we saw with Drum Island. It was one of those things where I kind of felt like that's where Oda was taking this, but then you see him meeting with the five elders and you just have this ominous feel to the whole situation. I don't know if like he got clapped there and he got clapped by somebody else and Sabo takes the blame, or Sabo actually went through with it himself. So what we have here is that we open up where Sabo is continuing where he left off, where he's explaining, I had three objectives. The first objective was to declare war on the Celestial Dragon. So I destroyed their symbol. The next thing I did was I started freeing slaves, and then I went to go take back Kuma. And he says, I accomplished my goals there. I was able to get those objectives done. I accomplished all of my objectives. Actually, the third was to go into the land of gods and destroy their food stockpile. I did it. How did that work out for you? And we find out exactly what happened. It got the world government's attention. It raised the will to rebel in several of the different kingdoms, and essentially with all the different countries that they're able to get the revolutionary started in, they got new leadership in some of those places, and that new leadership is not sending money and tributes and resources to the world government. So slowly but surely they are having an impact on the capital. Basically, it's a starving tactic, and it's an actual brilliant strategy of what you see with Dragon right there, because on one hand, with them being so highly elevated above everyone else and being separate of everyone else, it's a show of power, it's a show of force. And yet at the same time, they basically made it easier because since they're so isolated, it makes it easier to eventually have others rise up against them. So I did like what Dragon did there. There's some symbolism in that. Like, that's a common tactic when you read strategy stuff. When you cut off the supplies, it starts bringing out the most vile aspects of human nature. You allow the enemy to destroy themselves from within. So I did like what you saw there. However, that's where we start getting a little bit more. So one of the things that Dragon says is like, you know, the thing is that from the perspective of the rebellion, anyone affiliated with the world government, they are an enemy. So you have kings that oppress their people, which we saw that. Like, we've seen over and over how there are people who misuse their power. And then you also have kings who would actually be good rulers. And we've seen that as well. And where we start mucking things up a little bit is that Dragon's like, you know, Cobra from Alabasta, he's known far and wide as a great leader of men, a man of noble character. But the news doesn't always spread accurately. And I'm like, wait. What is Dragon saying here? I feel like I'm about to get my heart crushed because you guys know I'm a huge Vivi fan and I don't want Vivi's daddy to be scum. You know, like, God damn it, Oda, don't do this to me. But essentially, he starts planting the seeds there. And Sabo, he continues drinking. He's like, you know, at the end of the day, like, the flames of the revolution, they've been burning. And so he starts talking about the article where you see Cobra on the ground leaking out blood, Sabo standing over him. There's context that we don't have. And so Sabo starts explaining what happened. So we see in detail what took place, where the sign of the Celestial Dragons, the symbol of the Celestial Dragons, has been destroyed. The food storage system has been destroyed. you see as some of Celestial Dragons like, oh my god, it's enough that they destroyed our symbol, but they also took our food. How can they take our gourmet? It's like, yo, some of y'all can actually afford to lose a few pounds. So I did like seeing that. That was kind of funny. You see some of the actions taking place where different people are fighting. You got one of those moments where some of the admirals that are actually there, Fujitora is looking and he's like, okay, time to start getting into the battle. We see just the bodies beginning to start flying as the battles are increasing. And yet at the same time, we get this moment where we catch up with Sabo. And Sabo has a transponder snail. He's communicating. And Sabo is trying to find his way to Kuma. We know that he actually gets Kuma at some point because he says he accomplished his objectives. And he gets told, or he says that he saw him with Roswell and with his son. And it's okay, like, obviously we're getting into what happened back at the Reverie where one of them actually wanted to get their hands on Shirahoshi. You know that she's still in a situation where she's not completely out of danger, even though she is a princess. It's just like, that's how these Celestial Dragons work, man. And so as that's going on, that's where you got Bonnie there, where Bonnie is trying to infiltrate. We meet up where we see Vivi. Vivi is speaking to Rob Lucci. Rob Lucci is like, look, you know, we can take care of it. She's like, no, I'm going straight to Vice Admiral Garp. Garp is going to be one that takes care of me. I need to get in there. I need to find out what's going on. And as Vivi is trying to put her foot down and assert her authority, which it's ironic. She is a princess, but she has no authority here. We get a moment where Cobra gets wheeled up to the entrance. And we see Chaka and Pell getting told, like, hey, you got to stay back. The only person that can meet with the 5 elders is going to be Cobra. And Cobra says it's okay. And he says, like, go watch over my daughter as well, because I can't help but worry about that tomboy daughter of mine. And it's one of those things where Oda is planting death flags, and yet at the same time, he's putting some shady stuff. Maybe it's a misdirection right there with Cobra. We don't know what he's actually in there to meet with the 5 elders with, but I kind of feel like Oda is setting up misdirection here. Something is going to go seriously wrong. I kind of feel like the narrative wants us to believe that Sabo could have actually killed him, and I think we're going to get a swerve, and that's actually my question, you guys. Like, do you guys think, number one, how well do you think Sabo carried out his mission? And then number two, do you guys think that Sabo actually killed Nefertiti Cobra? But as always, guys, if you like anything I had to say, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching to the end. Have an awesome day, guys.